Beloved, today we reflect on a passage of Scripture that is a profound reminder of God's sovereignty, His care for us, and His unwavering promises. In the midst of trials and uncertainties, we often find ourselves overwhelmed by fear and anxiety. But God, in His infinite wisdom and grace, calls us to a place of peace, peace that surpasses understanding. He calls us to rest our minds and trust Him fully, knowing that the future is securely held in His hands. Today, we will explore how we can embrace this truth with 6 keynotes from the book of Jeremiah, specifically chapter 29. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. This is not merely a comforting verse to quote in hard times. It is a divine declaration from the mouth of God Himself. It is God drawing back the veil and revealing His intention toward His people. We must not let the familiarity of this scripture rob it of its weight. God is saying, I know what I am doing in your life, even when you don't. When the people of Israel were in exile, far from home, broken and disoriented, they must have wondered if God had forgotten them. But God interrupts their doubt with a promise. His plans are intact. His hand is not off the wheel. Now hear this. If you are in a place right now where everything seems confusing, painful, or uncertain, you must anchor your heart in this truth. God's plan for you has not been canceled. The exile didn't void the promise. The storm didn't stop the strategy. The trial didn't alter the destination. It might have shaken your confidence, but it didn't shake God's intention. He is the author and the finisher. He never starts something He doesn't intend to complete. The delay you are experiencing is not denial. It is development. It is preparation. God is working in what feels like silence. He is forming something inside of you that you might not even see yet. But His plan, still on schedule, you see. Our problem is that we often judge the goodness of God's plan based on how it feels in the moment. If it feels good, we believe the plan is good. If it feels hard, we question it. But God's definition of prosperity is not limited to material gain or surface-level comfort. When God says, plans to prosper you, He means wholeness. He means formation. He means healing in the soul, clarity in the mind, peace that overrides chaos. He means spiritual strength, not just external success. He prospers us in the fire, not just in the field. He prospers us through the pressure, not just in the palace. Sometimes the path to prosperity is paved with problems. God allowed Israel to go through exile, not to harm them, but to purify them, to restore their dependence on Him, and to prepare them for what was next. Likewise, what you are facing today may not make sense now, but when you step into what He's been preparing you for, you will see the wisdom in every delay, every detour, and every discipline. You'll understand why He shut some doors, why He let you walk alone in a season, why He stripped you of certain things. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. It was to prosper you in ways you couldn't have prospered if everything had gone according to your plan. And listen closely, God doesn't make reactionary plans. He's not improvising with your life. He's not scrambling to fix what went wrong. He knew every misstep, every heartache, every delay, and still said, I have plans to prosper you. Your mistakes don't scare Him. Your failures don't shock Him. Your weakness doesn't cancel His will. He knows the end from the beginning, and He still declares, I have plans to give you a hope and a future. So rest your mind. Stop rehearsing the worst-case scenarios. Stop questioning whether you'll make it. The same God who made this promise to Israel and Babylon is speaking to you now. His word does not return void. His hand is steady. His plan is intact, and your future is secure because it's not in your hands. It's in His. Certainly, here's an expanded version combining the first 2 keynotes. God's plans are not to harm you, but to prosper you. And God's timing is perfect. Trust it, into a continuous 600-word speech written in the powerful, convicting, and faith-anchored style you're seeking. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. These are not the words of a man, not the promise of a politician or the reassurance of a friend. This is God speaking, eternal, unshaken, and all-knowing. He says, I know. Not I might, not I hope, but I know. And when God says He knows something, it's final. He is not figuring things out as He goes. His plans for you are not up for revision based on your past, your mistakes, or even your present pain. His plan is not reactive, it is sovereign. He saw the end before the beginning. He knew the valleys before you stepped into them, and yet, with full knowledge of your story, He still says, I have plans to prosper you and not to harm you. You must understand that prosperity in God's language means more than what our world defines it as. It is not limited to wealth, comfort, or success. It is the peace that holds you together when the storm is tearing everything else apart. It is the growth that comes from the soil of adversity. Prosperity in God's hand means your soul is maturing, your faith is deepening, and your character is being refined. It means He's working in places you don't see to prepare you for blessings you can't imagine. He doesn't just want to bring you out of the fire. He wants to make you fireproof. So when God says His plan is not to harm you, He means that everything, even the hard seasons, are permitted for your good, not for your destruction. But here is where many of us struggle. It's not that we don't believe God has a plan, it's that we don't understand His timing. We expect His promises to arrive on our schedule. We think the evidence of His faithfulness is immediate relief. But God says, "When 70 years are completed for Babylon, I will come to you and fulfill my good promise." 70 years. That means some of the people who heard this promise would never see it fulfilled in their lifetime, yet God still called it good. Why? Because God's definition of fulfillment isn't limited to what we see with our natural eyes. His promises are generational. His timing is perfect. He is never late. Even when we feel like He's taking too long, if you're in a season of waiting, that does not mean God has forgotten you. Delay is not abandonment. Silence is not absence. God is working while you wait. He is developing you, not denying you. He is preparing the promise and preparing you to carry it. If He gave it to you too early, it might crush you instead of bless you. So trust the delay, trust the process, trust the God who controls the clock. When the time is right, His time, not yours. He will fulfill every word He spoke over your life. You may not see the full picture, but trust the hand that's painting it. You may not understand the timing, but trust the one who sees the end from the beginning. Your future is not falling apart. It is unfolding according to divine design. And as you wait, as you walk through uncertainty, remember, His plans are good, His purpose is sure, and His timing is perfect. Rest your mind. Trust God. The future is in His hands, all woven together in one continuous message of 600 words, written in a spiritually strong, faith-anchored tone. God doesn't guess, He doesn't gamble, and He doesn't grope in the dark for solutions. He declares with certainty, "I know the plans I have for you." Not random thoughts or half-formed intentions. Plans, strategic, personal, timed, good. Even when life doesn't look like it's moving in a good direction, you must anchor your heart in the truth that God's purpose for your life has not changed. You may feel like everything around you is shifting, but His word remains firm. His plan to prosper you is still intact, even if the route includes valleys, detours, or waiting seasons. He doesn't plan to harm you. That's not His character. Even when He allows the fire, it is never for your destruction. It's for your refinement. The challenge we face is not simply in believing God has a plan, but in trusting Him with the pace of that plan. God told His people that their breakthrough would come after 70 years in Babylon, 70 years of exile. That's not a delay you can fast or pray away. That's a sovereign timeline. And in those 70 years, there would be confusion, questions, and even despair, but none of that would change the promise. It was already written into eternity. And if you find yourself in a season that feels like exile, far from where you thought you'd be, surrounded by what you didn't expect, remember this: God's timing has not failed you. He's not punishing you, He's preparing you. The waiting is often where God does His deepest work. It's where our false securities are stripped away. It's where we learn the sound of His voice more clearly. And it's where peace is no longer based on what's happening around us, but on who He is within us. God said to the exiles, "Seek the peace of the place I have carried you to." That means peace isn't just a feeling, it's a decision. It's a mindset rooted in trust. You might not be where you want to be yet, but you can still rest. You can still breathe. You can still flourish, not because the situation is perfect, but because God is present. He carried you there, and He will carry you out. Resting in God's peace means laying down the burden of trying to figure it all out. It means letting go of your timetable and embracing His. It means you stop wrestling with questions like, "When will this end?" and start asking, "Lord, what are you doing in me while I'm here?" You see, peace isn't passive. It's active trust. It's confidence that even when you don't feel in control, God has never lost control. His hand is steady over your life. He hasn't forgotten His promise. He hasn't misplaced your purpose. And no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it feels, you can be sure of this: He will fulfill what He spoke. So breathe again. Stop rehearsing your worst-case scenarios. Stop letting fear write your future. God already holds your tomorrow, and in His hands it is not chaos, it is promise. It is not destruction, it is destiny. Yes, the process may take time. Yes, it may stretch you, but it will never break you when you are held by the one who authored your future. Rest your mind. Trust His heart. Let His peace rule over every anxious thought. Because your life, your calling, your future, they are not floating in uncertainty. They are anchored in the perfect plan of a faithful God. God's word in Jeremiah 29:11 is not a suggestion or a hopeful sentiment, it's a divine declaration. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. These words are not up for negotiation. They are not dependent on circumstances. They are eternal truths spoken by the Creator of time, the Master of destiny, and the God of covenant. When he says he has plans to prosper you and not to harm you, he's not offering comfort, he's revealing purpose. His plan for you is not accidental or reactive. It was written before the foundations of the earth. So even when the path gets painful, you must remember that pain is not the promise, his purpose is. And his purpose will stand. The struggle often begins when his plan doesn't align with our timing. We expect quick solutions, immediate deliverance, and instant answers. But God operates on a timeline we don't always understand. To Israel, he said their restoration would come after 70 years in exile. That's not a delay. It's divine design. We must stop treating God's silence as his absence and his waiting period as rejection. What feels like a pause is often God's precision. While you're wondering why it hasn't happened yet, God is aligning people, preparing places, and maturing your character so that when the door opens, you are ready to walk through it. If he gave you what you asked for too soon, it might destroy you. But in his time, it will sustain you. And while you wait, he doesn't just leave you in chaos. He calls you to peace. Even in exile, even in the middle of what feels uncomfortable, he said, "Seek the peace of the place I've carried you." That means you can still thrive, even in the middle of things you didn't choose. Peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the presence of God's assurance. It's knowing that even if the environment is stressful, your spirit can be still. It's understanding that God's control over your life hasn't weakened just because the storm got louder. You can rest in his sovereignty, you can trust his motives. You can sleep in the boat even when the waves rise, because you're not navigating by fear, you're anchored in trust. This kind of peace is only possible when our hope is rightly placed. If your hope is in your job, your relationship, your finances, or your own strength, it will always waver. Those things shift, they break, they disappoint. But when your hope is in God alone, nothing can shake it. Jeremiah 29:13 says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." That is where true hope lies, in seeking God, not just his blessings. When you chase after him, you find not just answers, but anchoring. He becomes your stability, your refuge, and your direction. Everything else is temporary, but he is eternal. When the world around you is uncertain, his promises remain sure. So as you walk through this season, whether it's easy or heavy, fast or slow, don't measure your life by the calendar or the pressure of others. Measure it by God's faithfulness. He has a plan. He's not in a rush, but he's never late. He offers peace that defies logic, and he invites you to place your hope not in what might change, but in the one who never does. Rest your mind. Trust God. The future is already in his hands. The tone is bold, faith-filled, and focused on deeply encouraging spiritual confidence without using section headings. God is not trying to figure things out as he goes along. He isn't building your future in reaction to your failures or adjusting your purpose based on your past. He speaks through the prophet and declares, "For I know the plans I have for you." That's not guesswork. That's divine certainty. It's not just a promise, it's a settled matter. God knows exactly what he's doing in your life, even when you don't. He doesn't plan to harm you. Even when you walk through fire, he's not trying to burn you. He's refining you. His plans are not to destroy, but to develop. Not to discourage, but to position you for something greater. He is the master architect, and what he's building in you cannot be rushed or reduced. But here's where we often wrestle. We believe in his plan, but we struggle with his pace. We want things now. We want answers now. But God says to Israel, after 70 years in Babylon, "I will come to you and fulfill my promise." Not immediately, not next week, 70 years. That tells us something. We are on God's calendar, not ours. Delay doesn't mean denial, it means design. He's not just preparing the blessing for you, he's preparing you for the blessing. If you receive it too early, it might overwhelm you. But when it arrives in the fullness of his time, it will fit your life perfectly. So trust his timing. Stop measuring God's faithfulness by your clock. He has never been late. He's always on time, even when it feels like he's silent. But here's where we often wrestle. We believe in his plan, but we struggle with his pace. We want things now. We want answers now. But God says to Israel, after 70 years in Babylon, "I will come to you and fulfill my promise." Not immediately, not next week. 70 years, that tells us something. We are on God's calendar, not ours. Delay doesn't mean denial. It means design. He's not just preparing the blessing for you, he's preparing you for the blessing. If you receive it too early, it might overwhelm you. But when it arrives in the fullness of his time, it will fit your life perfectly. So trust his timing. Stop measuring God's faithfulness by your clock. He has never been late. He's always on time, even when it feels like he's silent. While you wait, he doesn't call you to anxiety. He calls you to peace. He says, "Seek the peace of the place I've carried you." That means you don't have to wait for the environment to change before you live with calm. Peace is not found in perfect conditions. It's found in perfect trust. You can rest your mind even in the middle of uncertainty. You can walk through chaos and still carry clarity because God is with you. His peace is not circumstantial. It's internal. It's supernatural. It's the kind of peace that guards your heart and mind, even when nothing around you makes sense. You are not held together by your situation. You're held together by the Spirit of God. And that's why your hope must not be in what you see. It must be in who he is. Our hope fails when it's built on changing things, money, people, open doors, or even outcomes. But when your hope is set on God, it cannot be shaken. He said, "You will find me when you seek me with all your heart." That's not about seeking comfort or answers. It's about seeking him. And when you find him, everything else aligns. Hope anchored in God cannot be moved because he cannot be moved. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And when your soul learns to rest in that, you're no longer anxious about tomorrow. Even in exile, even in delay and in pain, God has never left you. His presence does not come and go with your emotions. He said, "I will be found by you, and I will bring you back." He's not distant. He's not disconnected. He is present in every season. Whether you're on the mountaintop or deep in the valley, he walks with you through fire, through silence, through confusion. He's not waiting at the finish line. He's walking with you every step of the way. So rest your mind. Don't let fear write your future. The God who planned your life is present in it, and the future is already in his hands. Certainly, here's a 600-word continuous message that integrates all 6 keynotes from your title, maintaining a spiritually powerful, peace-invoking, and hope-filled tone, written in a style consistent with bold biblical teaching. God's plans are not to harm you, but to prosper you. God's timing is perfect. Trust it, resting in God's peace, and our true hope is in God alone, and God's presence with you in every season. With your future is already in God's hands. "For I know the plans I have for you," declares the Lord. He doesn't suggest it. He doesn't whisper it. He declares it with authority, with certainty, with confidence. That means his plans are not conditional, fragile, or shifting based on your circumstances. He is not making adjustments because of your mistakes. His plan is fixed, firm, and full of purpose. He does not plan to harm you. No matter what life has thrown at you, no matter what pain you've endured, the heart of God toward you has never changed. His plan is to prosper you, to make you whole, to lift you, to strengthen you. Even if the process is uncomfortable, the outcome is good. Even if the journey has twists, the destination is still on course. The part that tests us is the wait. We expect fulfillment on our schedule. But God says to his people in exile, "After 70 years, I will come and fulfill my promise." 70 years, that doesn't fit our expectation. But God doesn't work on human timelines. His delays are not his denials. They are divine appointments. You don't need to understand every moment to trust him in it. While you're waiting, God is working. He's never rushing, but never late. He's aligning hearts, shaping your character, closing wrong doors, and preparing better ones. When you don't see progress, trust his process. When time feels wasted, remember that with God, nothing is ever wasted. And in that space between promise and fulfillment, he offers something powerful: peace. Not the kind the world gives. Not peace based on control or results. This peace is supernatural. It's peace in the middle of uncertainty. It's rest in the middle of tension. God told his people to seek the peace of the place he carried them to. That means peace is not passive. It's something you pursue. You choose it. You cultivate it through trust, through prayer, through worship. When your mind wants to spiral into anxiety, you anchor it with his word. When fear whispers that God has forgotten you, faith responds, "No, he's still with me." But peace only lasts where hope is rooted. Not hope in circumstances, not in timing, not in outcomes, but hope in God alone. Everything else fades, everything else can fail. But when your hope is in him, it cannot be moved. He said, "You will find me when you seek me with all your heart." That's the key. Your heart must chase after him, not just what he can give. Because when you find him, you find everything. You find peace, direction, strength, and assurance. The storms don't stop, but you learn to walk on waves because your eyes are locked on him. And here's the promise that God never leaves you. In every season, in every moment, he is present, not watching from distance, but walking beside you, even in exile, even in loss, even when you feel empty. He's there. He was with you in the valley, and he'll be with you on the mountain. He's not a seasonal God. He's a covenant-keeping God. His presence doesn't depend on your feelings. Whether you feel him or not, he's still God, and he's still near. So breathe. Rest your thoughts. Quiet your soul. You don't have to figure it all out. Your future is not in pieces. It's in his hands. The plan is still alive. The promise is still true. And the God who spoke it is faithful to complete it. Your tomorrow is not up for debate. It is secure in the hands of the one who wrote it. Rest your mind. Trust God. The future is already in place. Certainly. Below is an SEO-friendly YouTube description with keywords, hashtags, emojis, and timestamps for a 12-minute inspirational speech based on the message. Jeremiah 29. Rest your mind. Trust God. The future is in his hands. This description is designed to improve search visibility, engage viewers, and encourage them to watch the full speech. Beloved, as we reflect on Jeremiah 29, let us remember that the future is not in our hands. It is in God's. We are called to rest our minds and hearts in his care, knowing that he is working all things together for our good. Trust him with your past, your present, and your future. He has plans for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Trust his timing, seek his peace, and rest in his faithfulness. God's promises are sure, his presence is with you, and his future for you is bright because he holds your life in his hands. So rest your mind, trust God, and be confident that the future is in his hands. This message combines deep trust in God's sovereignty with practical encouragement, making it accessible while also empowering believers to walk confidently in God's promises.